Wait, can you smile?
Hey everybody, Scott Pierce here at Listings to Leads. Welcome to the call today. We got Craig Johnson with us and Yi Gong, and we're going to be covering how to 8x your Facebook ad ROI. This is somebody that has actually done it. He started running Facebook ads with Listings to Leads about 2.5 months ago. Been a client for longer than that, but really got into it a couple of months ago and has had good success. And what I really like about this and why I brought him on is he is not somebody that is way outside of what I would consider normal. In fact, what I would consider his results is to be very normal. But the reason why I think his discussion and having him talk today to everybody can really help instill a lot more confidence in people, because even he has gone through some issues with, you get bad leads, you get good leads, you're up and down, you're trying to stay consistent. And so when you can see somebody that had the success with it by staying consistent, doing the little things on a consistent basis, you're going to see it's really not that hard. All right. There's some things that you may not be aware of. There might be some tips here today that we're going to share with you to help make sure that you get that consistency and that you get the success based on that, and that you're doing the right things, so that between the Facebook ads that you get with Listings to Leads and all of the other tools, including the open house marketing blueprint, the listing presentation package that you get both in PDF and the flip books, you're going to both be generating leads, be closing leads, and be getting more listings. So with that, let me introduce Craig Johnson here. Now, Craig is a mortgage broker with Canopy Mortgage, and he supports various agents in his area with the Facebook ad. So for you agents, you're going to learn a lot from him that I think will help you, like I said, through this. And for any lender on the call, I think you're going to get some really good insight on how you could better partner with agents. And then we've got Yi Gong from Listings to Leads, and also Ansel Home Mortgages in Granite Bay, California, who will just be helping us and providing some insights and questions as well. So with that, I would love to have everybody go ahead and comment where you're coming in from. Go ahead and please share the link to this within your Facebook groups and your networking groups so that other people can join us as well. We'd love to have as many people as possible on this call. I am excited, Craig, because you are our very first guest that we have ever had on a call. I've never had somebody other than Listings to Leads people on a call. So thank you for joining us.
Yeah,
You're the living proof. Craig, you are the living proof that this thing works.
Yeah, no, this is really cool.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, well, thank goodness that there are really smart folks, for sure, that built this out, like Scott and Vince and Yi, for sure, and the team of people that you have, for sure. Yeah, so I just a quick kind of background. I've been a lender for 29 years, so I think I'm up to 7 loans. It's good. Got that going for me. But I think, yeah, especially in this market. But I think, the challenge that we all face in our industry, whether you're a lender or a real estate agent, is having and increasing your conversations, right? That is a challenge right now for all of us. And this platform really has done that for me over time. As Scott shared, I was kind of dipping my toe in the pool. I wasn't really getting after it. And then got to have some conversations, with Scott and Yi and help kind of build this out. And Vince came in a couple times too. So then I was like, you know what, if we're going to do it, let's get after it and go for it and see what's happening and really test it. So I think that's what we've done.
And test it in real life to where you're actually going to get the results based on what you're doing. So that's awesome.
It is. And it's hard right now too, because as we, as transparent as Listings to Leads is, that's for sure the road that I will stay down. It's tough right now because we're not closing deals like maybe we were 3 or 4 years ago. So, the income's a little tougher, even though some people on the call may be having their best year ever, which is awesome. Congratulations for that, for sure. You're working your tail off. I know that for a fact, because those that are having some success right now are just working so hard. You got to work harder and smart right now, for sure. But the great thing, and as we kind of talked about this as we began to prepare for the call, this allows you to build so when the market does turn and we do get to a point where we get 6.25 as an interest rate and we hold, there's going to be even more conversations to have, for sure. But this is a great platform to really get after it and have some great conversations. So happy to share anything and everything and the journey we've had here in the last
Well, let's do this. Let's do this first before we even log into the account. Why don't you give the 30,000 view summary? We did a post in the mastermind group that you saw, and obviously everybody saw it. And that post was actually just based on a quick screenshot that Craig sent me one day a couple of weeks ago. And he's like, hey, check out these results. And I'm like, dude, that is so awesome. I love what you're doing, because it's one of those things where, a lot of people will do Facebook ads, whether it's through Listings to Leads or on their own or through another program, and they get a few bad leads, they get an ad or two that don't work, or maybe they get rejected, and they literally fall apart, and they stop way before they're ever going to have success. So like anything else in life, right? Whether it's working out or your diet or anything, you're not going to have a lot of success in the beginning, because you're kind of learning your way through it. You're learning to be consistent and doing, what is it that works best to achieve the goals that you're trying to do. And so when Craig showed me the results a couple of weeks ago that he was getting, and it was over a 2.5 month time period, and that the pipeline was even getting bigger going out, I was like, Craig, listen, people can listen to me talk all day long, right? I can talk, and we got, reviews and, comments from our clients doing great jobs. But I wanted to bring him on because, again, as a lender, as somebody who supports agents, so the agents are getting the success that he's achieving as well. But then also as a lender, he's having a lot of success. I think it's going to be a really good call for both the agents and the lenders and even the brokers on the call here together. So yeah, Craig, give us just that quick 30,000 foot view, and then we'll get into the account. And we'll show people how maybe unsexy and unexciting and just how boring this is, but how boring can be really good.
Yeah, no, boring can lead to more money in your bank account.
I'll tell you, it's like golf. My daughter is a really good golfer, and her coach would always say, we want to play boring golf. All right. Yeah. Getting a hole in one is great, but we don't want to get the double bogeys. We don't want to, always have to get the hole in one. We just want to, if we can play par golf all the way through, we're going to have a great round. And that's very similar to this, I think, as well.
Yeah, no, I totally agree.
We're also sowing seeds. Don't forget.
We are.
Well, look at it. Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, and we're in such an era that, we all love satisfaction, like immediately. I get that. Right. Mm-hmm. And anything that is going to be high level success, as we've read and learned, it takes time and it takes energy, and you have to pay a price. There's a price to be paid.
What you do and what you hope is you don't pay too much of a price before you learn the lessons that you need to learn, which is exactly why we're here today. So and not only are we going to walk through what Craig had done successfully, I'm also going to walk through some of the cheat sheet ideas of how to not run bad ads. Because anytime I have a client, I'll have clients who will come in and say, Scott, I did an ad, I don't get any leads from it, or my leads are $15-$20 each. And invariably, I can go in there and spot real quickly. And probably about a month ago, in fact, I had a client come into the mastermind group, and she was complaining about the leads. I redid her ad, and I literally told her, I will generate you 4 leads in the next 24 hours, probably at about $5 a lead. Exactly. That's what happened. So she was going at $20 a lead for the first day or two. Just awful, right? But I corrected a few things that I'll share here after Craig gets done talking. And within 24 hours of making the changes I made, she was generating full leads with name, email, phone number, and purchase time frame for like $4 and some odd cents a lead.
Right. That's awesome. That's awesome.
So again, let's do your 30,000 foot, like the number of leads, the price you paid, and the results, the close and short term, and even the long term pipeline you're looking at.
Absolutely. So we've generated 575 leads over the last 2.5 months. Total ad spend between myself and the lenders, or the realtor partners I also partner with. They, together with myself, I've spent about just over $1,000. They too are at about $1,000. So we're just about over $2,000. Mm-hmm. So 575 divided by $2,000, I believe that puts us somewhere around $3.50-ish 57 cents, something like that.
Yep.
So we're below that $4 number. And that's one thing I'd share with everybody on the call, through conversations again with Scott and Vince. They said that their target on the site is typically $4 or less. So that's, kind of on a buyer lead, specifically buyer. Seller's different, I know. Some of the other type of lead gen can be different, but specifically buyer, using open house and using just listed. And that's what I've been running those things at. So that's my, gauge is $4. We try to stay in that or below it. So we've been able to do that. We've accomplished that. And we also, again, with that transparency factor, we are going to assume that if we get 100 leads, we're going to get one closing, because that's every statistic. If anybody, use ChatGPT and ask that question, put in that prompt, and I guarantee you're going to get 100 leads, one closing. Now we can do better than that. And I'm not saying, don't shoot for the star there, but that's what we're expecting. And if I can spend $357 for one closing, I'm going to do that all day long. And if I'm an agent and we do that at a $300,000, purchase price, 3% is $9,000, right?
Right. Mm-hmm.
So what we've done is we've got 2 deals that have already closed. We have another 2 that are going to close here in the next 35 to 60 days that are in contract. And then we've got another 3 that are out. 4 that are out actually shopping. They've been fully approved. One of the things that we do here at Canopy, I think is very unique. A lot of people talk about it, but we're unique. We actually get a full-blown underwritten loan based on income, credit, and asset. So when they shop, they know income, credit, and asset. We're good. All I need is appraisal and title, and we can close. So we always get to that point right away and give them peace of mind during the transaction.
Wow. Yeah.
So, Craig, can I ask you a question?
Yes, please.
So, how many listings you run ads on, and what's your daily budget?
So I run a $50 budget per ad. That's what I go in with. I know the platform starts at 35, I believe. It's set, preset. And when I talk to my agents now, again, through having conversations, with you guys and just some of the other people on the platform, $50 per ad for a 7-day run, that has been very good to us because it's given us the, $350, $357 per lead. So I'll take that every day. And I think, you, Scott, and Yi can speak to it even better, because as you've coached me, that's allowing Facebook to get to know you, your commitment, your ad spend says something for you. And I appreciate people right now too. Money may be tight. I get that. So I can only do 25 or 35. It's better than 0. That's for sure. But the results may differ a little bit.
Yeah. In fact, I've got a video I just recorded before this call that should be coming out. My marketing team has it, and they're finalizing it, where I go through this kind of like the cheat code for Facebook ads, talking about some of the common problems that most people suffer. And you're right. When you log into Listings to Leads, you go to a Facebook ad, you're going to see the $35 budget default, but that's only because we don't want to have to make people pay more. But in the video, I talk about you really want to go between $50 and $100 if you can. Like Craig said, 50 will work and 50 can be great for you. But we've got clients that are doing $200, $300 a week per listing, but they build up to that. They don't start out there because they wouldn't even be able to handle the leads at that point. And Facebook may just kind of waste some of that budget in the beginning. So starting out at $50 for 5 to 7 days, you may do, you can even do a 4-day ad, a 5-day ad, a 7-day ad, but a $50 budget per week is a great starting point. So that would be the first thing I would tell everybody here on this call is, Facebook has to have enough gas to get you to your destination, and money is gas. So when you've got a $35 budget, that's like a quarter tank of gas trying to get to LA from San Francisco. It's not going to work. I mean, you might get there and you might go downhill and somebody may push you part of the way until you get there, but it's not going to be an optimal experience for anybody. So when you can, like Craig said, try to shoot for $50 for a 1 week ad for a buyer ad. So coming soon, just listed, active, or open house.
Well, and the buyer ads seem to be, please correct me again, you guys know the platform in and out, but that seems to be the most affordable ad to get started in creating leads.
Well, here's the thing,
right?
50% of people, 50% of the buyer leads that are coming in have a home. Now, whether or not they have to sell or they're going to sell, we don't know necessarily. But there are a few accounts that I manage just to keep my toes in the water with it, and I'll look up the lease. I want to confirm: is it a good phone number? Is it a good email? So I can see kind of the range of that. Where there's not a good phone number or email, there's a facility both in listings to leads, and you may have other programs where you can find it. And when we do that, we find that most of these people have a home that they live in, that they own. And I say most, I mean like 50 to 55% of people actually own a home that are coming in as a buyer lead. So to your point, if you want to generate seller leads, I would go after buyer lead because we need more buyers now than ever, and you're going to get some sellers out of it.
Right. Absolutely.
Can I ask you a question?
Yes.
What do you say to agents who don't have a listing right now?
Well, that is a beautiful idea because of the sheer fact listings to lead, again, through programming and intuition, we have been able to obviously grab a listing. I mean, you guys even have, I call it a hot button, that when they log into their account and they go to listings on the tab and they don't have one, they can literally go in, click the grab listing button, put in a zip code and the MLS number, and it will go out and grab that information on that listing, all the pictures, all the description, the whole 9 yards, and bring it in to them. And then they can use that to market. And I would say that's probably, I'd say 70% of the types of properties that my agents are grabbing listings and putting them in their account. And I even advise them to definitely reach out to the listing agent if they don't know and just, hey, do you mind if I help market your listing for you? Is that okay? We haven't had any pushback on that at this moment. I know it could be. And if you do, that's fine. Just, hey, appreciate it. No problem. Find another listing.
Yeah.
Somebody's going to want to have you help market that, especially, Scott, to your point, we've got listings across the United States right now that are sitting too long.
Yeah.
And they just, the market's shifted.
Let me say one point to that, where and this could be where, maybe you've got a listing and it's been on the market for a while, after maybe 2 to 3 weeks of running ads, that listing is going to get stale and the leads are going to start tapering off. And so what I recommend is try to think of the ad that you're going to run for that week is almost like the deal of the week. In fact, when I do my Monday trainings, I talk about, whether it's your listing, an open house that you're going to be doing, yours or borrowed, or you're just going to market a listing as your quote unquote deal of the week, is make sure that listing is in a good price point. So we don't want to go too high. We don't want to go too low, right? There's not a lot of inventory above 5 million, right? It's fun and exciting to look at, but you're not going to get a lot of real leads. You're going to get a lot of people that just want to see, right? Does it have a jacuzzi? What does the backyard look like? So try to get a listing that's in a really good price point for your area where there's a lot of good turnover. And as much as possible, try to get a listing that is as close to your market and your buyer seller avatar as possible, so that you will have multiple buyer and sellers that you can cross pollinate across your business.
Yeah,
absolutely. In fact, you'll see that in the open house market, open house mastery, where we talk about when you want to borrow an open house, it's the same idea, right? You don't want to borrow an open house that's way out there or way low or too high. You want just right in the meat of the market.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think, I'm kind of biased to it because I love first-time home buyers, right? Because there's a slew of them that are, they're ready to go, but we just don't have the rate to make them go. Compared to someone who's looking at a $1.2 million home, to your point, Scott. I mean,
yeah.
Beautiful home. You're just not going to get as many base hits on it, but You
Yeah.
know,
And like I said, the problem is a lot of those leads you do generate, like I said, are just looky-loos that just are curious. Well, what does a 1.2 million or a 3 million or a 5 million home look like? So they just want to see the pictures. And when you call them up,
sure.
those are the ones that are going to tell you, oh, I didn't really fill out the form, or, that wasn't me. Right. Because
Right.
they just wanted to see what the kitchen looked like. That's all.
Well, I was going to say, as we understand, that's why there's that just dreaming when they fill out their ad.
Yeah.
So,
You know what I tell people? The further upstream you can get people, right? So you may have some leads, and with 575 leads, some of those leads are going to be 5 years out, probably, right? Who
sure.
knows? But
Right.
some are going to be 5 weeks out. And so you
Right.
just never know. So those just dreaming, again, I wouldn't take too much stock in any of that stuff, even the
I
1
would
to 3
agree.
months,
I
right?
would agree.
Just take that as an absolute guesstimate, not as an, oh my God, they said they were just dreaming. And so I'm never going to call them up because why waste my time? No, you don't know that,
Well,
right?
it's
They
totally
could have just accidentally have clicked the 1 to 3 months. Who knows?
well, it's totally different when you're just dreaming on a 300 versus a 1.2 million, right? I mean, that's what I meant by, kind of framing that. Because at 300,000, I think anybody on this call, and you guys know from being in the business yourself, how many people are just quote unquote dreaming, then they find out they can do it, and then all of a sudden 2 months later they're homeowners, to your point, Scott, especially at a $300,000 price point.
I think I want to add one more thing about the PDF guides as well. The PDF guides for
Yes.
buyers.
Yeah,
That could
it's
be
a
very
full
helpful
on,
as well.
it's a playbook, right? And I mean, there's over 80, are there 85, 87? I mean, there's a playbook for anything that you're doing in the stage of buying or selling real estate, for sure. And, that's a part of our follow-up. Once we get the lead, is we're utilizing now, and it's my fault. I just shared this earlier before our start of the call. I was not using the quote unquote CRM or email campaign out of listings to leads that, Scott and the team built that has the PDF guides in it. So when they click to get the PDF guide, it's there for them. So I would highly recommend utilizing the email campaign for your follow-up for both buyers and sellers. Because I'm running right now, I shared with them a 30% open rate.
Which is amazing.
On it.
Right.
So yeah, we're getting a great open rate. I've only done one campaign on it, but I've got 4 already, 4 clicks. So they downloaded the PDFs, and 2 of them were in conversation to start to take an application already. So
That's
awesome.
awesome.
I mean, I think those types of things.
So let's do this.
I think what we learned from Craig is, number 1, you got to do it consistently. Number 2, you got to have some ad budget behind it. Okay. And number 3, I think very, very important is you got to give 90 days. Okay. 60, 90 days. And
90
don't
days
give
at
up.
least.
Yeah. Do not give up during this process. Because if you do give up, you're going to restart that wheel.
You do.
Right. We're going to show you later a chart about how the leads compound leads over time. So if you stop, your cycle starts all over again. So you lose everything. And then you start complaining, okay, the system doesn't work. You give up. It's not the system that doesn't work. It's your process is not correct.
Well, it's not even that. And the 3 of us discussed this the other day, where you want to have consistency, competency, confidence, right? And the know-how. And so let's get into the account. Go ahead and click on the tab and let's actually show people how
you're running out.
Simple it is. Because here, to be honest, there's not a lot of training we need to do, right? There just isn't.
No.
What we need to do is make sure that you understand the process, so that as you're going through it, you got the confidence to stay with it to the point where you're going to start having that success. Because the success, I don't want to say it's inevitable, because if you're a lousy salesperson, you don't call the leads. I mean, come on, follow-up is where it's at. Right. We just had our client Ben Sweet, team leader with our Reel, was talking about the fact that, generating leads is easy. But the great thing about listings to leads is it makes it so affordable to generate good quality leads at a good price. So with that, we're looking now at Craig's account. So Craig, talk us through just act like you're just logging in. You're going to do an ad and just show us what you're looking at, what you're changing from the defaults. And I might speak to a little bit as well.
So all I do, I've got it set up so the create ads is the first thing on my home screen because we're going to, get after it right away. And I always want to take a look at the ads. Now I just started these this morning. These just got underway this morning. So on these properties, we're, 216, great. 210, good stuff here. Wow. 431, not bad. I'll take that. Yeah. And so what I start doing here is I'll start gauging that over the next, I'll let that run. I'll tell you where my temperature is. We'll typically let it run for 3 days. We'll see how that does if I start getting near $5.50, $6, then maybe I'm going to turn it off. So, I am gauging that for sure. We just don't let it run blindly.
Let me share 2 things on that.
Yes.
One is, and I've done this before, I will go into an ad that's maybe $12, $15, just some god awful number, right? And I'll literally turn it off and I'll just click, run the same listing, the same photos, the same everything. Maybe I'll change like the colors of the image template to maybe a more contrasting. So if a lot of the image is green and brown and they've got like a tannish yellow orange color on the template, I'll change it to maybe more of a red or a blue or a green. So it's more contrast. And within 24 hours, I went from $8 a lead right down to $3 or $4. Or what you can do is you can actually edit the ad and just swap out the photo, maybe change the text a little bit. But sometimes Facebook can just get on a bad path. It really can. It can just, for some reason, it will just go and it'll just suck wind, right? And if you're not paying attention or you don't understand, either, hey, just turn the ad off. Don't get offended by it. Don't get bent out of shape. Just turn it off and just rerun it right away. Just literally hit that off switch and then rerun the ad. And you will don't be surprised if you're going to see that a much better cost per lead. Or in fact, I'll show a little bit later how you can just keep the same ad, but change the image. Just change the image to something else. Maybe you had a bad image, which I'll speak to a little bit later. Just make sure you got great images. Because that's one of the things I see with bad performing ads is the image quality is not good.
That changed my whole thing is when you put out that video on changing the image, right? Because, agents, and I appreciate it, when you get 25 to 45 photos and they, get up on the MLS and obviously L2L just downloads that in the order that they were in the MLS, right? But that doesn't mean that's not necessarily the right order to run a Facebook ad, to your point, Scott, for sure. Exactly. So I literally went in, I will tell you, on this particular house, because I've heard you say it, front of the house, got to be a nice picture, simple, but clean. People always love kitchens. I love kitchens. So hopefully there's a nice kitchen picture in there. So find a nice kitchen. I used 2 here because I didn't have the other thing that I've heard you say, and I don't mean to step on your toes, but you'll show us how to do it, is a nice clean backyard picture. Or
it's got a nice backyard, a nice living room.
So, but good front house, good kitchen, good backyard.
So do me a favor real quickly, just for everybody. So Lynn, great question. How do we know good images? Well, there's a couple of things on that. One is if you have a professional photographer, hopefully you'll have good images. If you're taking the image yourself, take a look at, is it too dark? Is it too washed out? Is the frame not good? Is the angle not good? What have you? But the other thing that is more common, and Craig actually spoke to this, which is when you're loading these images in the MLS, you're doing, you're kind of grouping them. So here's all the front of the house, and here's all the kitchen photos, and here's all the living room photos. And so you're grouping them. And then when we come into listings to leads and we grab the first 4 photos, you may have where this template, which is the best template out there. This is better. This template is better than anything you're going to do in Canva. It's better than putting your face on it. I don't want to see your face. Nobody wants to see your face in the image. You got it above in the profile there. So Craig, do me a favor and click on where it says change image. This ad is already live, I believe.
It is.
Oh, okay.
Oh yeah, just leave it.
Yeah. Well, later on, we'll go to we'll go to a listing where you don't have it. But Lynn, what you can do is you can change all 4 of those images in the template. So let's just say, and I had this today with a client. It was 3 photos of the front of the house, and then the 4th photo behind where it says 64 more pics was another kind of a weird photo. And we left the main photo on the top like you saw with that ad, and then we just swapped out the other 3 bottom photos with exactly what Kevin said. It was a kitchen, it was a living room, and it was like an overview drone shot. So not a backyard per se. This was in Pensacola, right near the water. So they had a nice drone shot of like the front of the house, kind of, but with the ocean or the Gulf behind the property. Beautiful. Oh my God, it was just a great photo.
Yeah, that's awesome. So here's the 3 that I'm running, right? So using that template on all 3 of them for sure, and running the playbook on the image idea. What's interesting, if you look at this house, I mean, it's not, lack of a better term, maybe the front of the house is not very sexy. It's pretty.
Yeah, I don't like that. I don't like that big driveway. Like sometimes you just can't help it. But where we like, and you can even crop the photo. Now I can't do that inside the listings to leads, but if you have, Snagit or another program, maybe even Canva, you might see if you can. In fact, I did that today with this guy, because the main photo of the property, the house is really small in the photo. And if I would have left that photo, and this is another common thing I see, right, where the home is way too far back in the photo. So we just cropped around the property so that the image of the home itself is larger in the photo, so that it will convert a lot better. So to your point, that's a good call. But hey, you've already got 2 leads at a good cost per lead there, so not bad.
Yeah, $2.10. Absolutely. I'll take that all day long for sure. But yeah, I think it's so easy to use. So easy to use.
Do this real quickly. Go to create Facebook ad, and let's just walk through this real quickly so that people can see. Literally, you can click the green button at the top there.
Right here. Yeah, I'm sorry.
And do.
I never do it out of that.
Right, you've got your way of doing things.
Yeah.
That's not a problem. So however you want to do it, but let's just kick off like we're going to do a brand new ad.
Right here. Sure.
So you got the address. So you select the listing. Yeah. Don't need to change anything. Lead ad.
Drop down.
Hey, real quickly. So lenders, if you're a lender on this call, notice he's got send lead to lender or send lead to the agent. So, depending on what you're doing and how you're doing it with the agent, if you're going to be the person to kick off the follow-up, right? So you got the options. All right. Wow, that's a weird, what is that? All right. We're not going to worry about
this is land, really?
It's a land. Yeah, just a land.
All right. So we won't worry about the photos.
It's a land, yeah.
But
let's just kind of see the gist of how to post this. Yeah.
So we got the location. We'll autofill the location of the listing, so that will happen automatically. This is a kind of a common mistake, but I don't see it too much, where people will add in a second or a third location without increasing the budget. Bad idea. If you're going to add another location, like maybe you're in Florida, you want to add Chicago, New York because of people coming down there, you've really got to add that budget. You'd have to go to $50 or $100 for sure at that point. Otherwise, the ad spend is so spread out that you're not going to, it's not good leads. So, and then we talked about before, he'll change the 35 to 50. So, bump that budget up if you can. Trust me, I know.
Because I've used 50 so much, the site remembers it. So mine's at 50 all the time now.
I love it.
That's nice.
So I don't need to change it. It's set at 50.
Yeah. Now, the only other thing here is if it was an open house, I would change the ending date to the date and time of the open house. Yes. So it's now Tuesday or Wednesday? Tuesday. It's going to default to 7 days. So I would edit the ending date to the end of the open house.
Yeah.
So you can do that right there. Easy enough. Uh-huh. And then the other thing that we talked about was click on change template. And we've got 21 different templates available. You can upload your Canva images. You can upload a video right here if you wanted to. Yeah, so scroll down just a little bit more. So there's a horizontal slider right there with all the different templates. But since we like this template that we've already got, we're not going to do that. We're going to go back up to the top of this little pop-up, and on the, yep, right there. So if you click right there where it says edit, now I can swap out all these photos. So this toxic green, crazy looking piece of property looks, I don't know if it looks like anyways, I'm not going to comment on it.
It's Beetlejuice.
There you go. There you go. But so normally in the case you're probably going to leave that top image because it's probably the front of the house, and that's perfect. But it's those bottom 3 images that you're going to want to move around. And that's where right here, all the photos of your listing will be right in this work area. So like we said, select kitchen for the bottom left, select a nice living room photo, bottom center, and maybe a backyard for the bottom right.
Yep, absolutely.
And it's literally that easy. That's all you have to do.
Very, very easy. And then you obviously save it, because I've done that where I haven't saved it before. My fault doing that.
Yeah. And also, I'll tell you what right here. So you see how that's a land and there's a lot of brown, and then you've got your banner in orange. So this is something I've noticed as well also. I had an ad probably a couple of months ago that was performing kind of bad. It was like $7, $8 a lead, and I wasn't too happy with it. And I swapped out the orange to a red.
Okay.
Cost per lead went in half right away.
Okay.
So, you just got to kind of get a feel for, and that's why I want to do a call like this so I can share with people. When you're on your own, you're at home, you don't have the, you don't have the breadth of knowledge of looking at a bunch of different ads, knowing exactly what worked. I mean, you can go to the Meta library and you can see all the ads out there, but you've got no clue how they're performing, right? You have no idea. So you'll see a beautiful ad, and I've done this. I see a beautiful ad and I'll replicate it, and it just is, it's awful, work. Right? I was like, what a great looking ad. Let me try it out. No good whatsoever. So
yeah, just because one works doesn't mean it works on the other, right?
Well, I think the other thing that I keep in mind too, and we've talked about it, less is more. And I just need to give you enough, and that's why front of house, kitchen, living room, backyard, just to get you involved. Right. Even if you're just dreaming, that's cool. It makes you think, oh my gosh, I could have a barbecue in that backyard. I could have my family and friends over.
If a house has a patio with a barbecue, that is a ringer. I mean, that will get clicks of people to see that. And, they see the front, and the front can be, whatever, different styles of the front. They got a kitchen. The kitchen is clean, and the living room is okay. There's a living room. But man, if you got a barbecue backyard with a pool and like a little lounge area, that is catnip. Oh my, that's what you want to be showing.
Well, it reminds me of what people look at when they go and look at, an open house. Yeah. They're already starting to think where the Christmas tree is.
Yeah.
They're already thinking of, Thanksgiving in their living room. Right.
Mm-hmm.
And we need to run ads that kind of speak to that. And that's what this does, because it gives you just enough image that you want to click on it and learn more.
Right. So I think the point here is, it's not that people are lazy, but I think they just don't realize that, I can actually change these images within the template very easily. Yes. So next time you are going to run an ad, take 2 seconds, just make sure you look at the photos, and do these photos look good, right? Would I as a buyer lead, as a person, would I want to even click this thing? And don't be generous to yourself. Be hard on yourself. All right.
Right.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
All right.
Well,
so now
that starts when you grab that listing too, Scott, right? Because you got to grab the right listing.
Yep.
Now, if it's your listing and it's a little, gnarly, you got to rethink that a little bit. Hey, Tony, look at Tony. Yes, it's great. Look at him. I got to connect with you there, Tony. We got to get connected.
Yeah, Tony, we'll have to get you on a call at some point, maybe see what you're up to.
Yeah.
So we got the ad created. We know how to do it now. We know how to swap images, and we need to make sure you check your performance, maybe
Yes.
like Craig says, he does it every 3 days. Because if it's
Mhm.
not performing, it's like the computer's stuck, right? It's frozen. So you
Well,
gotta
so I
reboot
check it every morning, Yi, when I log
Okay.
in for the first time. We're looking at those numbers right away. And, people do things differently. So when my ads are done running, I archive them so that they're not grabbing my attention, because I need to pay
Good point.
attention to the ones where I'm spending money on. But it's great that we can archive them, because we can go into it and look at all those numbers.
Yeah.
And then we can see the performance overall. And that's how I got to how many leads we've gotten, to how much our ad spend has been, right?
Yep.
I keep track of that stuff. And I think that that's really important for anybody that's using the platform. You got to keep track of your numbers. You got to, there's too many agents that I speak to and loan officers that, we just don't know our conversion rate. Because we're taking spaghetti and we're throwing it on the wall and we're going, God, I hope some of that spaghetti sticks. Well, how much spaghetti do you need to stick? That's the right.
Right.
I mean, we better have that. Have that.
I know in one of those training calls that we had, Scott, somebody actually said that if their ads are running like $5 or less, they automatically extend it for another week.
Yeah, thank you. That's an awesome point. Yeah. So if you have an ad that's performing badly, I would either stop it and rerun it, or I would go in and edit the image, maybe edit the coloring, so a little more contrast, like I said. But yeah, on the flip side, and also, we're talking to a client the couple of 3 weeks ago, and he said, to Craig's point, when he goes in there to look at that ad, he said if it's under $3, he will. So he does 2 or 3 run throughs. So at the end of 5 days or so, he will double the budget if it's under $3 or $4, and then at the end of the next 3 to 4 days, and extend the ad runtime, so you can do that all right inside the edit area. And then if it's still performing really good, he will double the budget one more time and extend the ad out another week. And so that way he keeps those really good ads running longer, and then he'll just cut and cut bait on the ones that are performing badly. So that's another great strategy. So great.
It's a good idea. I might have to bring that up now, Yi.
Yeah.
And
one more thing I want to mention here before we move on is there's so many other things that you can do. You got your pixels, right, that you can add to the account, so that you got your Facebook pixel. You can retarget, you can go to a custom audience, you can do video view, traffic. There's a lot of things you can do for 95% of you. All you have to do is what Craig just did. When I do my training on the pendings and the just solds and the seller leads, I talk more about custom audiences and different things like that. But for a buyer ad, don't get fancy, don't get cute, don't try to outthink the system. Just all you got to do is make sure you got good photos, and got the location, and just make it a $50 budget if you can afford it, and let the system do the work for you.
I was going to say, and it's real important too, to use the AI technology in L2L. If you have AI technology in the chat bot, right, type thing.
AI text follow-up, you meant.
Yeah, AI text follow-up is so critical, because as we get these leads, even if you're getting 2 leads a day, let's just say 2 leads, 5 days, I've gotten 10 leads. And each one of those leads are on a different path, because day 1 is not day 3. So day 1's message is going to be different on day 3 than day 3. Day 3 for a new lead is a different message. But the AI behind it knows all that stuff and keeps the cadence correct. That's where, and as we said earlier, man, fortune's in the follow-up. That's where, so I think 2 things, Scott. I think if we have folks committed to the, running the playbook on the simple, basic ad stuff that we're talking about, doing an ad spend, I'm with you, minimum of $50. But if you do 35, be committed. Just be committed, right?
Yeah.
And then follow up. Follow up. and follow up until they tell you. An agent here in Texas said one time they either have to buy, die, or tell us to take a long walk off a short pier.
Yeah.
But be committed, right? Be committed. Be committed.
So, let's speak to that. So,
So Craig, can you actually show that screen of your follow-up stats?
Sure. Sure.
Yeah, I think that's good to know.
And let's also speak a little bit. So we got the AI follow-up and listings to leads. And Cindy, do me a favor, get into the mastermind group, and can you post that comment so that later I can see it? And yeah, you know what? If we were running the special for half off on the AI follow-up for a while, I don't know if we're still doing that. But if you make a post in the mastermind group about it, I will get with our team, and maybe we'll see if we can do like a 2 to 3 week special on that. But here's the thing, Craig, speak to that, because sometimes I'll get a client and they'll go, well, the people are just, they don't like the AI text or this or that or whatever it's going to be. Now, granted, you can send your leads to Lofty, you can send them to KV Core, Boomtown, Sierra, wherever you want. So the leads can go wherever you want. They don't have to stay in listings to leads. But Craig has really, I don't want to say cracked the code, but you know what, Craig, what you've done? You've broken through the wall that most people bump into and get too startled and shaken up because, one of the leads will tell the AI text to remove you, and maybe you get 3 or 4 in a row that are all remove, but it only takes a couple to convert. And so talk a little bit about the AI text follow-up.
Well, I think, the funny thing to me is, and I understand that because I've had a couple agents actually reach out to me and back off the AI inside of L to L, because they've gotten some things where people have told them to, F off, just start swearing at them type of thing. Right. And I've said, obviously that's rude and disrespectful, but they don't know you. You don't know them. To me, just let that go. That's not a personal against you, even if they're being rude and disrespectful. It is what
I'd rather have them rude to the AI than to me when I call them.
Amen.
That's the whole point.
Amen.
Yeah.
Amen.
Amen to that.
Otherwise I'll be in therapy for God knows 2 weeks. So,
dude, I tell you, the way some people, and I'm a little bit that way too. I can take things a little bit too personal. But what were you gonna say?
We have in our stats for all the people that have subscribed to our AI follow-up, our conversion has been consistently over 10%. So it's very, very good stats.
Yeah.
I mean, this has been, that's just results. And, for all the people that's using the AI text follow-up.
Well, I can show that to you in my lead thing, but I think at our pre-call, you would figure that out, Yi, that I'm somewhere in that 10%.
You were like over 11% when I did the calculation.
So, I think it's really good because, at the end of the day, I go back to the original saying I had, conversations lead to contracts. So hopefully one thing that this call will do for folks is motivate them to go out and get belly to belly with some people and go have some conversations, and then use technology behind you to help you have those conversations. Because I think too often, and I love this about, the platform, you don't, quote unquote, you don't sell it at all, but your story isn't use the platform. It will get you business. No. Use the platform to create conversations. Then you have to go out and have those conversations that the platform has created for you. Right.
Yeah.
I mean, the platform isn't going to go out and negotiate the contracts. They're not going to go do the home inspection. They're not going to do, hey, this is the type of loan you should get. None of that, for sure. And even if AI one day gets to some crazy point where it's doing some of those things, people are still going to want to do what we're doing right here, is get together, be face-to-face, and have conversations with human beings. So
correct.
Great conversations. Go have them. For sure.
So we got the lead, we got the ads out there. The ads themselves are collecting name, email, phone number, and purchase time frame. The leads are coming into listings to leads. So Craig has in fact, we're looking at it right now. He's got the buyer lead follow-up connected to his ads. And Craig, how hard was that to connect?
I think it was one click. So,
with one click,
put my
people
finger
need to know that. That's awesome.
Yeah,
That's
I'm gonna have to put my finger in a split.
Yeah. I remember having doing all these conversations to get the AI having the right response.
Yeah, in fact, I might look at that a little bit later as well and just see where we can tweak that a little bit. I mean, if we can get up to maybe even 15%, I think that'd be really huge.
Sure.
But yeah, I mean, look at that. So, and Craig mentioned this earlier for people that didn't really catch it. So, 575 leads, 2 closings, 2 or 3 in contract, 2 in contract, I believe.
Mhm.
Another 3 maybe pre-qualified and out looking.
Yes.
And then he said 10 to 12 other conversations happening. So, 10 to 12 medium to long term that are already, kind of getting baked in the oven.
My numbers would tell me I'll get 1 or 2 of those.
Yep.
That's what, and I'm a statistic guy because I'm also the son of a teacher and football coach. So growing up in athletics, right?
The stats. We'll talk about stats.
When it's third down and we're on the right hash on the 42-yard line, I know what play we're going to run. So,
For the end zone.
Yeah.
I'm just going to throw that with my arm.
I'm going to hug it. Yeah. And pray.
Yeah.
But I think and that's where frustration can come in, is if you're not keeping track of any stats, you can get really frustrated quickly when maybe your quote unquote ad isn't performing, but you don't know the stat that you should compare it to. Right.
Right.
So this is such a great call, because we're given some foundation to say, hey, this is the baseline that you should use to compare your success. Yep. And we're not blowing it up or making, some obnoxious, hey, you can get $100,000 richer in 12 months. No, you got to work. You got to work.
Well, and that's why I said at the beginning of this call, why I really liked what your story is, because, I don't, of course a vendor can bring on somebody that, made $1 million and somehow got 4 leads that all just some miraculously called you up on day 1, and now you're closing him, and my God, he's got 30,000 in commissions in 7 days. Right. I mean, that stuff can happen, but it's not normal. You're going to be so bent out of shape when you get done listening to something like that and you try to implement it and you realize, holy cow, that was 0.5%.
Yes.
Craig is like 90% of 100%. So, there's always going to be people that fail that even do exactly what we're saying. There's going to be 1 or 2 people that just aren't going to get it done for whatever reason.
Well, my December and January, when I kind of started dipping my toe in the water, was not very good.
Mm-hmm.
I was looking at things and I'm like,
struggles, right? Yeah.
And then I was thinking, I'm going to hang up my cleats.
Yeah. That's the thing that kills me the most, right? Back to that gas tank analogy. Are you going to be in a good mood trying to drive to LA on a quarter tank of gas? No, you're not. Are you going to be happy eating a quarter of the food that you normally eat every day for 7 days in a row? See how you feel, right? Take your diet, cut it down by 75%, and then see how you feel after about a day, right? You're not going to feel good. The ads and lead generation and lead follow-up are the exact same way, which is why I say, and I hate to, I don't want people going broke. I don't want people getting into debt, but you've got to figure out where you can spend your money and smarter. And you've got to have at least, and I'll tell you, I've got clients that are doing $100 a week, $200 a week on one listing every single week, because they know that's where that cost per lead really starts coming down. They get enough coming through the pipeline that they're now getting, right, whether it's a buyer or what have you, on a very consistent basis.
Right.
We just had So anyways.
Yeah. I think you hit the nail on the coffin, right? So to be successful, what do you need?
Nail on the head.
Nail on the coffin. Sorry. Same thing.
We're Dracula right here. This is good.
Oh, it's my Chinese coming to play. Anyways, so you need a mental toughness. Okay. You need to understand, maybe treat this not as expense, but as an investment. Maybe that will help you shift your mindset. That's number 1. You got to have a budget, right? Then you got to have skills.
Right.
So if you don't have skills, hey, reach out to Scott, reach out to all of us, reach out to support. We will help you get to where you need to be at, so that you can hone your ads, your images, whatever they need to do.
Yeah.
And
What I recommend is get into the mastermind group, take a screenshot of your ad, right? Don't go
yeah,
into the mastermind group and start complaining about your ad and not providing any information. Take a screenshot and put it in the mastermind group. Give us your budget, give us, the stats behind it. What I'll typically do is I'll take a quick look at it, then I'll go into your account, and I don't think I'm at 100%, but I'm pretty close to 100% of being able to take someone's ad that was coming in at $10, $15, and get it down to where it really needs to be. Now, there are some areas, Houston, I know maybe could be like, $6, $7 for buyer leads. I just looked at the stats before we came on the call, and active listings were coming in at $2 and like 80 cents. Open house leads were coming in at $3.49. So Craig, you're actually you're not doing so good, man.
Yeah.
You think
I'm a little rough.
Yeah, you're a little rough, man.
32 pages, 32 images. I'm like, wow, that's a lot.
Yeah. Oh, gosh.
Right. So anyways, hey, real quickly here, Tony had a quick question. Craig, are you using your own script? So yeah, tell us real briefly. We got 4 minutes, but we can go 1 or 2 minutes long. Talk to us about, so you call up one of these people, or how does that connection happen?
Yeah. So after I've taken them off the AI, right, the chatbot.
So you can turn that off.
Turn it
So
off.
when those leads come in and the AI engages with them,
Yes.
anytime you can turn that off and take it over, no problem.
Yes, absolutely. Simple. Again, just a click. Thank goodness. So I will jump in, and usually I come with, scheduling just a 15-minute get to know you type of call. Because again, I don't want anybody to feel like this is the big coming to Jesus moment, because they're still looking. Yeah, absolutely. So we're always going to try to be as welcoming as we should be. But then once we get them on the phone, yeah, Tony, I jump into my own scripting at that point in time. I have read some of the L2L scripting, and it's very, very good. I think that is so important to be scripted. That's another challenge that I think is in our industry, whether you're a lender or a real estate agent. Too many of us are not practiced enough with scripting, because I think it's so essential to know what it is, your value, and be able to share that value simply and easily and very warm, right? Because that inviting moment of, because these people on the lender side, it's important for realtors too. I mean, they're about ready to bare their soul to you. I mean, they're going to talk about their financial life too. I mean, and now that I've been doing it as long as I have, I take that so seriously that I'm a complete stranger. I mean, because that call usually happens over I use Google Meets to have my initial, I call it my dreams and goals call. And we go through a process of dreams and goals, and we're going to explore that opportunity of, why do you want to buy a home right now? What are you excited about? What are you anxious about? Because I think it's really important to address those things as we go through.
Do you have the video on?
What's that?
Do you have the video on or just audio?
No, video's on too. So, and I'm always on camera for sure. I let them decide whether they want to be on camera or not, either way. But I definitely think it's good to put face and voice right together, because this is an extremely big event in their life. And we want to make sure that they feel like we're all in, because we should be, right? So, L2L, it's done its job. It's gotten me the conversation. And now it's for me to go close that with every warm and fuzzy thought that they deserve in this experience. Because too often, unfortunately, they don't have a very good experience buying and selling homes. And we're here to do something different. Just like you guys are here to do something different with this platform. I do want to say, because I know we're getting close to the very end, what turned me on to L2L, the biggest thing that really grabbed my attention right away, is when I found out that these cats have been doing it for 15 plus years. That was a big, oh my gosh, somebody knows how to do something, because I'm telling you right now, team, if you do anything longer than 10 to 12 years in our industry, you've got to have some things that you have figured out to be successful, and especially running a marketing company. I mean, if you just wait 10 minutes, I guarantee you, go into any Facebook group about real estate and you will find a new group of people that have decided to get together in their garage, and they may have the purest intention to run a really good company, but they haven't been doing it for 15 plus years. You know, Scott and Yi and Vince and their entire team have put in the time, effort, and money to make sure that this thing is always moving forward. The second thing that grabbed my attention was that these guys train weekly. They don't train once a month. They don't train bi-monthly. They don't train once a quarter. Scott is on a call, or Vince is on a call, webinar daily. And Yi's behind the whole thing, coordinating the boys and making sure we're going to fire on all goals, right? So together, they know exactly what it is to do. And if you just let it go and follow the playbook, there's a lot of great playbooks. There are. And hopefully we've broken down one tonight that is really, really simple, that literally tomorrow morning, if you want to go into it, man, jump in, wake up, grab a cup of coffee, grab a listing, go run an ad, get better, reach out to Scott or Yi if it's starting to, burp a little bit. It's okay. And they can tweak it so you can get some results. And then, make sure you partner with the right lender that understands these things. Because I think, today's partnerships are so more critical. I mean, just look at what Rocket Mortgage has done in the past 60 to 90 days, right?
Yeah.
So we've got to form partnerships between good partners that want to help each other grow their business. And that is something that I'm a huge advocate of. And I always respect other lenders that are trying to do this too. Because once again, just like in the real estate world, there's a handful of us that are really trying to get after it. I respect those that are trying to. So let's go get it, because there are people to serve.
Let me real quickly, because just in case anybody on the call or on the recording, when, we're trying to push a little bit of a higher ad budget, we don't make any money no matter how much you spend. So you could spend $1,000 on Facebook. I don't make any more money. Right. Nobody here makes any more money. There are actually firms or companies, platforms that charge like 15% of your budget, right? Absolutely ridiculous. So, when you hear me talking about, well, spend 50 or spend 100, I don't care from a financial perspective. So from a financial perspective, I don't care. I just want you to understand that if you spend too little, you're just not going to get the results that you want. All right. And again, I know people, Craig, you're absolutely beautiful when you share, hey, in December, I dipped my toes. No, you didn't. You wasted your time. That's what you did, right? You wasted your time. You wanted to get comfortable with it.
And money.
Yeah. And money, because $35 is $35 with not a lot of return, because Facebook is just going to look at that and go, it's got blah.
Yeah.
Oh, the 35 is done. Here we go. Right. But
I've worked with agents, right? And I know I'm talking to one of you or two of you. You spend probably, some of you, $700 on 1 hour consultation or a coaching program and think it's going to be like, it's going to be solving all your problems.
The BS agents spend money on.
Yeah. Take that money and put in your ad budget. Like Scott said, we're not making a dime out of your ad budget. We just want you to succeed. And your success means so much to us, because at the end of the day, we all win together.
Yes.
So your success means a lot to us. It's like propelling us to keep, making this better.
Yeah. Well, and the goal of this is we want to bring people that have had reasonable and appropriate and relatable and repeatable success. I don't want to bring on somebody, that again hit 3 grand slams in a row and try to pass that off as normal, or you should be doing this. Well, no, you're not. Who's going to hit 3 grand slams in a row? Nobody is.
Right.
But
everybody's going to make mistakes. Right. It's a grind, but you just have to do it all in
Yeah.
And if you want to succeed in real estate industry, you have to make a commitment and do it consistently and put some money behind it and know you're going to fail, but you also going to learn a lot and grow along the way.
Well, I was going to say, find the right team to be on too, right? So to me, you guys became the right team to be on, because there's a saying, and there's a couple sayings in our family, being the son of a teacher and a coach. One of them is actions speak louder than words. By what you guys do, by teaching and coaching on a daily basis, by putting out new content daily, being committed to continuing to grow the platform, speaks volumes of you're in it to win it, Yi. Just like you said, you want to see people be successful. So absolutely reach out to the team, and they will, take a private phone call with you, for goodness sake.
Exactly. You can schedule a call, with Scott for 15 minutes. He's probably can pinpoint you whatever that mistakes you've made. One more thing. Do you have a chart before we go, just to see how the leads compound over time?
I do. Hold on a second. Yeah, you know what? I do, but
we run out of time.
Well, yeah, to be honest, I could show it, but it's just, here, I'll tell you. Let me, Craig, I'm going to share my screen, and for everybody here, we will be done and off in the next 2 minutes. I don't think this is going to really blow anybody's world out of the water, but it is a nice representation of just, what this is each column is a week. So from the far left, it's week 1 all the way through week 12. And we're looking here about generating 20, it's not even that much, right? 20 buyer leads a week, which would be 4 a day. Well, 7 times 3 is 21. So 10, So 20 to 20 leads a week. But again, if you can get up to, we talked about $50, Craig is spending $2,000 for 2.5 months, so like $800 a month. I would say try to get to about $400 to $500 a month minimum, right? Try as quickly as possible. Try to get up to $100 a month, whether you're marketing 2 listings a month, maybe doing a price reduced landing page, free list of homes for sale. New construction is another popular one. Get into the mastermind group. We got examples of all those things. Just search price reduction, search new construction, search list of homes for sale. If you don't find it, ask me and I'll help you out. We got rent to own. We've got so many other ways to generate leads, but try to get to where you got 1 or 2 ads going a week, spending $100 to $150 if you can, right? Work up to that as you're able to. And then that's where you're going to be in a very, very sweet spot, because you can see here, even at a 1% conversion rate, within 12 weeks, you're going to start getting, you're way earlier than 12 weeks. Like we said, I think Craig said, really within like 5 to 6 weeks of being consistent, right? You don't get to sit there and tell me, well, I more or less did what you said. Well, the less part was I didn't run ads for 3 weeks. That's not, it's either yes, you did it, or no, you didn't. There's no, I kind of, sort of, maybe did it my way. You don't get to have a way when you're first starting out. You should really do it our way. And you'll have the most success. So listen, everybody,
would agree.
Thank you so much for joining us. Janie says, where do I schedule a call with Scott? What is Matchmaker? What is Matchmaker? Anybody know? I'm not sure what that is. But Janie, get into the mastermind group. You can ask that question then. I'll give you my Calendly link. And you can completely. I love talking to people because I want to make sure very quickly we can get you pointed in the right direction. We won't spend too much time where I fire hose you, because you will walk away more confused than you were coming into the call with me. But I will walk through 1 or 2 things with you to where you're going to be off and running for a month before you need to talk to anybody again. So typically I like to do, I'll tell you what, if people did the ads like Craig does, and if you do an open house every week with our open house playbook, all right, with our open house playbook, in fact, let me just show you.
Scott, I'd like to come back and talk about that with you for sure, because we talked about that a little bit in our pre-call, and that's magical.
The open house?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, right there in the dashboard.
Because there's some stuff in there that we can do also for free that will blow up your business.
Oh yeah, you know, we talked about that lender. Oh, dude,
The lender packet,
the
the
lender.
lender open house
Yeah.
packet. Remember?
Yep.
Yeah.
We
Oh.
can revisit that again here in a couple of weeks. I'd
Yeah.
be
Hey, dude,
humbled
check.
to come back.
Yeah, check out. You know, this is one of the clients I like to play around in their account just so I can, you know, check out things. I just started this ad about a day ago, 3 hours ago, barely 3 hours ago.
Ooh,
Already got
already
4
fully.
leads at $2 a lead,
Wow.
and I was able to confirm 2 of them. 2 of them came while we were on the call, but for everybody here on the call, when you go to the lead detail page, so if I were to click the 4, those 4 leads would come up, right? The name, the email, the phone number. And when I click the name of the lead, it'll go to their detail page. On that page is a more button. Search email on Google, search phone on Google. Probably 7 to 8 times out of 10, you're going to find a good phone number and a good email for that person. No problem. And half the time you're going to find out that they the property where they live, and then you can look up, well, do they actually own that house or not? And you're going to find out, my gosh, this buyer lead actually has a home. And that's what I'm talking about. If you want to go after seller leads and build your business along the way, do these buyer ads. So with that, everybody, thank you so much for joining us. Craig, last
Thank
comment.
you so much, Craig. Yeah.
Great platform, man. Don't dip your toes. Cannonball.
Cannonball. There you go. That's how you're going to
Cannonball.
have more fun and more success.
Absolutely.
All right. Thank you, Craig. Really a pleasure
Absolutely.
having you on the call.
Yeah.
Yi, thank you so much for joining us as well. Any last comments from you?
No, this is an awesome training, and I hope people get great information from this. Unfortunately, we did not have too much time going into email follow-up or AI follow-up, but there will be a different day.
You know,
Absolutely.
we'll do another call with Craig in a couple of weeks, and we'll talk about the open house lender pack, which is a really great idea that we talked about about a week ago. So
Yes.
with that, everybody, thank you so much for joining us, and we'll talk to you soon.
Thank you, guys. Thank you, Craig. See you on the next live
call. Yes,
Yep.
sir.